Without a doubt, killing bad guys is much easier with a weapon. From the most Byzantine ARPG to the most exciting AAA blockbuster, a variety of real weapons typically allows us to enhance or customize our experience. I thought we could take some time to take a look at curious weapons that have actually seen ubiquitous practical use throughout the ages. Let's start with an Iberian short sword that owes its uniqueness to the unintuitive shape of its blade. Among Titan Quest's many real weapons, the falcata curves forward instead of backward, like a scimitar or katana. By keeping the center of weight at the top of the blade, this effective weapon offers the deadly momentum of an axe. Though Titan Quest takes place in Greece, Egypt, China, Hell, Atlantis, Norway, Germany, and Austria, the falcata was most popular in the Iberian Peninsula, that is Portugal and Spain, from the 5th through 1st centuries BCE. It enjoyed wide usage without regard to rank. Whether you were a general or an infantryman, you probably had a falcata at your side. The key distinction between the falcata and its cousins among the slashing weapons of ancient Greece is that it's double-edged, especially near the wide tip of the blade. We sort of take that for granted when we look at the Zweihanders, broadswords, and bastard swords of Western and Northern Europe, but most Greek swords were sharp only at one edge. The Metropolitan Museum of Art in Manhattan is home to a falcata in particularly excellent condition. Between superficial corrosion and high structural integrity, this blade of genuine iron could still decapitate someone today. Historians often compare the funkily Egyptian khopesh to a sickle due to its shape. It curves so dramatically as to bypass shields and flank enemies. Among humanity's oldest weapons, the khopesh was wielded by Egyptians from the 3rd through 2nd millennia BCE. Though the khopesh was most popular among Egyptian charioteers, soldiers wielded it all over the Levant. By around 1500 BCE, the khopesh had graduated to more of a symbolic and ceremonial role, becoming as decorative as a 19th century rapier. Like many of antiquity's deadliest slashing weapons, the khopesh owes most of its effectiveness to weight distribution rather than sharpness. The abrupt curve of the blade thrusts the center of weight near the tip. Curiously, the literature I've found suggests that the khopesh was versatile enough to wield in both directions. One could have brandished it either as a sickle that curves toward the ground, or as more of a scimitar that curves skyward. After the kukri had dominated the Indian subcontinent for centuries, colonization popularized the concealable handy knife among London's gangsters. It widens near the top and curves toward the ground to make for yet another effective hacking weapon, though it has more in common with the falcata than the khopesh. A key distinction between the kukri and other weapons I've discussed is utility. Is the kukri a badass weapon that excels at killing people? Absolutely, but regular citizens used it for a lot more than self-defense. Chopping firewood, slaughtering or skinning animals, preparing meals, and opening cans are all easily achievable with a kukri. If you want to perform on Jeopardy, note that the kukri is specifically from Nepal in the mountains to the north, making it the most realistic weapon of choice for Ajay Ghale in Far Cry 4. Of course, it's also fun to carry through the streets of London in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. One of the best weapons in Assassin's Creed 2 was also popular among real nobles in Renaissance Italy. Though many duelists may have carried rapiers through the streets of Florence, the schiavona is essentially a broadsword, ideal for slashing highwaymen or Templars. The schiavona owes its opulence primarily to its basket hilt and handguard. Minute decorations embroider the handle of the sword. Schiavona derives from the Italian word for Slavonic, in reference to the Slavonian corps who served Venice during the 18th century. Thus, the sword was especially popular among Venetians. That most of Assassin's Creed 2 occurs in Venice is no surprise. In contrast to the shining splendor of the golden schiavona from Assassin's Creed 2, a specimen in excellent condition is maintained by the Cleveland Museum of Art. The grip and pommel are of solid silver, while the blade is of thick steel, dated by archaeologists to be around 300 years old. The schiavona in Cleveland would have been in its prime long after Ezio's life. Silver or gold, a schiavona would have been as much of a bold status symbol as it was a deadly weapon. Portrayed by Ghost of Tsushima and Lies of P for some reason, the naginata is a super cool and deadly Japanese halberd. Whether soldiers thrusted it from battlements or horseback, reach was the primary benefit. In Ghost of Tsushima, an NPC wields his naginata as the protector of a self-sufficient Buddhist temple, but modern media also demonstrate the weapon's designation as a top choice for cavalrymen. I'm pretty sure Masataka Gyobu Oniwa slaps you with one in Sekiro. At the naginata's height of usage, tacticians would have often compared it to the katana due to similar construction. A naginata was little beyond a katana with a long shaft beneath it. Maybe this is why the titular protagonist of Blue Eye Samurai carries a makeshift katana naginata hybrid. Far from an exclusive weapon, the naginata was wielded by many different soldiers, samurai or otherwise. You can go buy one at the mall or online for $500, and maybe you should. This is an official endorsement. Thanks for tuning into my discussion of boss weapons in real life. If I see enough comments that suggest other funky weapons that exist in real life and video games, I might work on a second volume.